Just 72 hours ago, the unthinkable became reality. In the heart of Moscow, less than 8 kilometers from the Kremlin walls, flames erupted into the night sky as Ukrainian drones penetrated what was supposed to be the most protected airspace on Earth. This wasn't just another strike on a military depot or fuel storage facility. This was a direct hit on Russia's intelligence nerve center, a complex worth $1.8 billion, housing the operational headquarters of the GRU, FSB, and SVR, Russia's most secretive intelligence agencies. The attack began at exactly 21 hours, 47 minutes, Moscow time. Eyewitnesses reported a low mechanical hum, different from the usual urban sounds of the Russian capital. Within seconds, the first explosion tore through the eastern wing of the complex located in the Kodinka district, an area so sensitive that even Russian citizens need special clearance to enter. The strike was surgical, precise, and devastatingly effective. What makes this operation extraordinary isn't just the target, it's the execution. Moscow's air defense network is among the most sophisticated in the world. The S-400 Triumph system, Pantsir S-1 mobile units, and layers of radar coverage create a dome that, on paper, should be impenetrable. Yet somehow, Ukrainian forces managed to navigate through this fortress of protection and deliver a payload that changed the calculus of this war. Intelligence sources suggest the drones used were modified versions of the Ukrainian-made Beaver reconnaissance UAV, enhanced with extended range capabilities and advanced electronic warfare systems. These weren't the commercial quadcopters we've seen in earlier phases of the conflict. These were military-grade autonomous systems capable of terrain-following flight, GPS-denied navigation, and most critically, the ability to jam or spoof Russian air defense radars. The complex itself was no ordinary office building. Constructed between 2012 and 2018, this was Russia's answer to the NSA headquarters at Fort Meade. 7 stories above ground, 3 levels below. The underground sections housed secure communication centers, data processing facilities capable of handling petabytes of encrypted information daily, and crisis management rooms designed to function independently for up to 90 days in the event of a nuclear war. Satellite imagery captured just 18 hours after the strike reveals catastrophic damage. The eastern wing, which housed the GRU's cyber warfare division, is completely destroyed. The central atrium, an architectural feature that connected all 3 intelligence agencies, has collapsed. Thermal signatures indicate fires were still burning deep within the structure more than 48 hours after the initial impact. But the physical damage tells only part of the story. Sources within Ukrainian military intelligence, the HUR, suggest the timing of this strike was no coincidence. For months, Russian intelligence had been consolidating operations, moving key personnel and critical data storage systems from field locations back to Moscow, believing the capital was beyond Ukraine's reach. This consolidation made the Kodinka complex not just a headquarters, but a single point of failure. The human cost is still being calculated. Russian authorities have remained tight-lipped about casualties, but intercepted emergency radio traffic tells a different story. At least 47 personnel are confirmed trapped in the collapsed underground levels. The nature of the facility means these aren't clerks or maintenance workers. These are senior intelligence officers, cryptologists, cyber warfare specialists, the kind of expertise that takes decades to develop and cannot be easily replaced. What's perhaps most alarming for Moscow is how the attack exposes fundamental vulnerabilities. If drones can reach the intelligence quarter, what else is within range? The Ministry of Defense headquarters is 4 kilometers away. The Kremlin itself, 6.3 kilometers. The psychological impact of this strike reverberates far beyond the physical destruction. The operation also represents a technological leap. Ukrainian engineers have been iterating drone designs at a pace that rivals Silicon Valley startups. Each generation incorporates lessons from the battlefield, becoming stealthier, smarter, more autonomous. These aren't weapons systems developed over decades with billion-dollar budgets. These are innovations born from necessity, refined under fire, and now proving capable of challenging Russia's most advanced defenses. International reactions have been carefully measured but significant. NATO intelligence officials, speaking on background, described the strike as a game-changer, not because of what was destroyed, but because of what it represents. The democratization of precision strike capabilities. What once required stealth bombers and cruise missiles can now be accomplished with drones costing a fraction of the price. Are you ready to see how this single strike is reshaping the entire strategic landscape of the conflict? Let's follow the shocking developments right now. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the latest updates on this rapidly evolving situation. To understand the full magnitude of what happened, we need to examine exactly what was inside this fortress of secrets. The Kodinka intelligence complex wasn't just an office building, it was the brainstem of Russia's global intelligence operations, and now, significant portions of that brain are permanently offline. The GRU section, occupying the eastern wing that took the direct hit, was home to Unit 26165, the cyber warfare division responsible for some of the most sophisticated hacking operations attributed to Russia in the past decade. This unit allegedly conducted operations against Ukrainian power grids, compromised Western government networks, and coordinated information warfare campaigns across multiple continents. Their servers, their personnel, their operational playbooks, much of it is now buried under tons of concrete and twisted steel. The FSB Counterintelligence Directorate, located in the northern section, fared slightly better but still sustained critical damage. This division was responsible for monitoring and neutralizing foreign intelligence operations within Russia and Russian-controlled territories. The loss of their operational center means a temporary blindness, a window of opportunity that Ukrainian and Western intelligence services are undoubtedly exploiting as we speak. But perhaps the most significant loss is in the underground data center. This facility wasn't just storing routine intelligence reports. According to defectors who worked on its construction, the center housed backups of every major intelligence operation conducted since 2010. Personnel files of agents operating under deep cover worldwide. Source networks painstakingly built over years. Communication protocols. Safe house locations. The compromise of this data represents a potential intelligence catastrophe of historic proportions. The technical specifications of the drones used in the attack are still being analyzed, but preliminary assessments paint a remarkable picture. Each drone carried approximately 40 kilograms of high-explosive, shaped charges designed to penetrate reinforced concrete before detonation. The warheads used a tandem charge configuration, with the first charge clearing defensive layers and the second penetrating deep into the structure before exploding. The navigation system is what truly sets these drones apart. They operated in what military analysts call GPS-denied environments, meaning they couldn't rely on satellite navigation due to Russian jamming. Instead, they used a combination of terrain-following radar, visual navigation algorithms trained on satellite imagery, and inertial navigation systems, accurate enough to hit targets within a 2-meter radius after flying hundreds of kilometers. The attack profile suggests multiple waves. The first drone arrived and deliberately triggered air defenses, creating electronic noise and forcing Russian systems to reveal their positions. Subsequent drones, flying lower and slower, used this information to plot paths through gaps in the coverage. It's a tactic straight out of military doctrine, suppression of enemy air defenses but executed with autonomous systems rather than manned aircraft. Russian air defense crews were not unprepared. Intercepted radio communications reveal they detected inbound threats and engaged with both Pantsir S-1 systems and small arms fire. At least 2 drones were reportedly destroyed before reaching their targets. But the mathematics of drone warfare favor the attacker. When offensive systems cost tens of thousands of dollars and defensive systems cost millions, and when you can launch dozens of drones simultaneously, eventually, something gets through. The economic implications extend beyond the $1.8 billion construction cost. The intelligence capabilities housed in this facility represented investments stretching back decades. Recruiting and training a single intelligence officer capable of operating at this level costs upwards of $2 million and takes 7 to 10 years. The complex employed an estimated 350 such specialists. That's not counting the technology, the data, the institutional knowledge that cannot be easily replicated. Moscow's response has been swift but revealing. Within hours of the strike, Russian forces launched retaliatory attacks against targets in Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Odessa. But the choice of targets, mostly civilian infrastructure and residential areas, suggests a lack of precise intelligence about Ukrainian military positions. It's possible the strike degraded Russia's reconnaissance capabilities to the point where they're operating partially blind. The political ramifications within Russia's leadership are harder to assess, but likely significant. President Putin built his power base on a promise of security and strength. The fact that enemy drones penetrated to the heart of Moscow challenges that narrative fundamentally. There will be scapegoats. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and the commander of Russia's aerospace forces are likely facing intense scrutiny. Heads will roll, literally or figuratively. What's remarkable is how this attack alters the strategic equation. For 2 years, Russia has prosecuted a war assuming Moscow itself was sanctuary, beyond Ukraine's reach. That assumption is now shattered. Every command center, every logistics hub, every concentration of military power within Russian territory is now potentially vulnerable. The war has come home in a way that no amount of propaganda can spin away. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hasn't claimed direct responsibility, but his statement the day after the attack was telling, "The war always returns to the territory of the aggressor." This is an inevitable, natural, and absolutely fair process. Reading between the diplomatic lines, it's as close to a confirmation as we're likely to get. This strike represents more than a tactical victory. It signals a fundamental shift in the nature of modern warfare, where the barriers between frontline and homeland, between combatant and command center, are dissolving in the face of new technologies. Consider the timeline of this conflict. In February 2022, when Russian forces invaded, Ukraine's military was equipped with Soviet-era hardware and conventional weapons. Fast forward to October 2025, and Ukrainian forces are conducting precision strikes deep inside Russia using domestically produced autonomous systems. The rate of adaptation is unprecedented in military history. The drone revolution is driven by several converging factors. First, the miniaturization of electronics means sophisticated guidance systems, once the exclusive domain of superpower militaries, can now fit in devices the size of a backpack. Second, artificial intelligence has reached a point where drones can make targeting decisions independently, navigating complex environments without constant human control. Third, 3D printing and rapid prototyping allow military engineers to iterate designs weekly rather than annually. Ukraine has become a laboratory for these technologies. Necessity has driven innovation at a pace that peacetime research and development never could. Every successful strike provides data. Every failure informs the next design. The result is an innovation cycle measured in weeks rather than years, producing weapons systems that challenge decades-old assumptions about military power. The implications extend far beyond this specific conflict. If a nation under invasion, with a defense budget a fraction of major powers, can develop capabilities to strike targets hundreds of kilometers inside enemy territory, what does that mean for global security architecture? The answer is unsettling. It means geography provides less protection than it once did. It means expensive defense systems designed for the last war may be obsolete in the face of swarm tactics and autonomous operations. Russia's response will likely involve significant investments in counter-drone technologies. We're already seeing evidence of this. Increased deployment of electronic warfare systems, dedicated anti-drone units, and development of directed energy weapons capable of burning out drone electronics. But this is a reactive posture, always one step behind the evolving threat. The human element of this story shouldn't be overlooked. Behind every technical specification, every tactical innovation, are Ukrainian engineers and soldiers who have transformed from defending their homeland with whatever was available to conducting operations that would have been considered science fiction just 3 years ago. It's a testament to human ingenuity under pressure, though one born of terrible circumstances. Looking ahead, this strike will undoubtedly influence how wars are fought in the 21st century. We're witnessing the birth of a new doctrine where autonomous systems, operating in coordinated swarms, can achieve strategic effects once requiring massive conventional forces. The barriers to entry for precision strike capabilities have lowered dramatically, a development with profound implications for international security. For Russia, the immediate challenge is operational. How to continue prosecuting the war when your intelligence infrastructure has been partially blinded. Longer term, the challenge is strategic. How to defend an 11-time zone empire against threats that can come from any direction, at any time, with minimal warning. For Ukraine, this strike proves their long-range capabilities are real and improving. It provides leverage in any future negotiations, demonstrating they can impose costs far beyond the immediate battlefield. It also sends a message to Russia's population that this war isn't some distant operation in the Donbass, it's coming home to Moscow. The full consequences of this attack will unfold over months and years. Intelligence operations compromised, agents exposed, networks rolled up. The invisible war fought in the shadows has suddenly become very visible, and the damage will ripple through Russia's intelligence community for years to come. As we close this analysis, one thing is clear. The rules of warfare are being rewritten in real time over the skies of Ukraine and Russia. What seemed impossible at the start of this conflict, striking the heart of Moscow's intelligence apparatus, is now documented fact. The question isn't whether we'll see more operations like this, but when, where, and how much more audacious they'll become. This story is far from over. The retaliation for this retaliation, the counter-moves and escalations, are already in motion. If you want to stay updated on these rapidly developing events, make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on. Hit that like button if you found this analysis valuable, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on what this means for the future of the conflict. Share this video with anyone who needs to understand how dramatically the strategic landscape is shifting. And if you want to dive deeper into the technology and tactics making this possible, check out our previous videos on drone warfare and modern intelligence operations. The future of warfare is unfolding before our eyes, and you don't want to miss what happens next.